Hi, this is seller newsletter number 3 for the fall 2025 sale. All right, so one question we commonly get is, how does payment work? So our default method for paying you is by a check that we send snail mail. If we do not hear from you, we will assume that's the method you want. We do also offer being paid by PayPal or Venmo now, which I'll get to in a second. And so you can elect to get paid via PayPal. I have the link in the newsletter that you would need to sign up for. If you've signed up in the past, you need to re-sign up every single sale. That just keeps things more straight, and that also helps us know just in case somebody got PayPal and decided this time they want to check or whatever. So you have to re-sign up every sale. If you're not sure if you submitted it already, it's not a big deal for you just to resubmit it, because I can just delete out the field. We are offering Venmo this time, so that'll work just the exact same way as PayPal payment, but it will come to your Venmo account. So we had a consignor, we'd been considering offering it the past few sales, but we weren't sure. We had a consignor last sale ask about it, and so we asked if she would mind being our guinea pig, and we tried it and it worked great. So it all works exactly the same as the PayPal. We have to wait for the money to transfer before we can send that, so it is not necessarily going to come to you right away. The process for transferring that large amount of money takes time. So typically the way it works is we submit the transfer literally as soon as the money from the sale hits our bank account. We start the transfer process, but PayPal is a little pokey with getting it to work, just because the way banks work, and honestly just because PayPal is a little pokey. And so the past couple sales, we've seen it hit, so we will submit the transfer Monday morning. We've seen it hit our bank account or hit our PayPal account so that we can pay everybody Thursday, Friday sometimes. Seen it as early as Wednesday, but it's been several years since I've seen it as early as Wednesday. So I would probably, it would not shock me if it was Friday. I think one sale, it was like Saturday morning that it finally came over. So just be aware that there is a little bit of wait time with that. We do still strongly recommend it over the snail mail option. It typically is faster. So we send out the checks just as soon as we can. But especially if you're rural, it may be a couple weeks before you see your check. Every single sale for the past maybe 2 or 3 years, I've had at least one seller contact me like 2.5 weeks out and saying, I haven't gotten my check, what's going on? And I say, give it a few more days, and it shows up like almost 3 weeks out. So we strongly encourage you to consider using PayPal or Venmo, but if you would prefer to do check, that is also totally fine with us. Also do keep in mind that if the check gets lost, the stop payment is going to come out of your profit check. So that is another thing to consider if you're wanting to do the snail mail option. We've never had a check totally get lost, not in the last several years anyway, so I don't expect that to happen, but just be aware of that being a thing. If you do choose check, please make sure that your address is correct in your consignor workstation, because that is the address it's automatically going to pull. So double check, make sure that address is correct. All right, a few things. If you are a first-time consignor, or if you have not sold for several sales, please make sure that you are visiting the website and understanding all of the seller information, because we know it can be really overwhelming. It can be a lot to process. Start at the first sell page and then follow the arrows at the bottom, and it's going to take you through all of the information. If you're reading these newsletters, you're already a step ahead, so you're doing great. So a few tips. First off, we know that your first sale can feel really overwhelming. We hear this time and time again. They're like overwhelmed with, don't know where to start, don't know how much to get started with. So one recommendation we have is to make a goal of just a little bit at a time. So we have a handful of sellers that they come their very first sale and they have like one tote of stuff, and that's all they've done. And it's not because they didn't want to do more, but it's because they were just kind of overwhelmed with the process. And so they committed to doing one bin so they could kind of learn how it works. And then the next sale, they're the sellers who come back with bins and bins of stuff to sell. So don't count that out if that's a better option for you. That is totally fine. You also may find after you do that first bin that you're like, hey, this is super easy. I'm just going to go ahead and do everything. So it's just kind of your personality and of course your time that you have available. One thing we recommend is when you're doing clothing, it helps if you can sort by your sizes and gender first, because then those auto-populate, they stay until you change them, and so those parts will fill in, so it can make your process a little speedier. If you are bringing a large number of items, something I recommend doing, especially if we're talking clothing, is doing them in chunks. Because I will tell you the mistake I made my very first sale selling is that I was entering a ton of items. I had 3 kids already by this point, I think, maybe just 2 kids, I don't remember. And I thought I would just enter everything and then go back and tag everything. What a nightmare, because it was so difficult to try to figure out, the description that I thought was specific enough. I ended up having a couple different things that it would match. It was really, really a headache. So entering a large number of items all at one time can really kind of put you in a pickle. So we recommend kind of doing it in chunks. However, the caveat to that is that if we're starting to get close to the item cutoff time, remember that you can continue printing tags after the item entry closing, but you cannot enter new. So if you are worried about getting crunched for time, ignore what I just said and just get all your items entered and then go from there. Speaking of tag descriptions, these are really important actually. Sometimes people don't realize how important they are. So one is that tags can get unattached at the sale, so they can come apart from the item. And it is much more likely that we can match them back up if there's a good description. For example, if I have a tag and I have a shirt and the tag says shirt, I'm not going to match those 2 items because I cannot be confident that I would be selling the correct item for the correct consignor, and I don't want to not credit the correct person. Now, if I have pink Adidas shirt with flowers and I'm holding a pink Adidas shirt with flowers and the sizes match, I can put those back together and feel good about that. It also helps us at the register if that pink Adidas shirt with flowers comes through and I search pink Adidas or whatever, and it comes up in our system, I can sometimes sell it that way. So if you give a good description, that helps us a lot. You can also think about using that description spot as a way to highlight things that you want to have that catch the buyer's eye. So if it's new with tags, that's a great thing. If it's this popular brand, popular sports team, popular character, put that in there, because as a shopper is going through tons of items, sometimes a description can help draw them to your item. All right, so like I said, do not save tagging for the last minute. I know it's tempting, you do still have a few weeks, but our item entry closes if we hit a cap. So right now our item entry is set to close September 28th at 10 p.m. If we hit kind of our max number of items that we can take before then, we will close down early. Basically what happens is that if we have too many items at our sale, we don't sell more items, we just sell about the same items, which means that your seller percentage goes down. We end up with overwhelmed shoppers, we end up with overwhelmed volunteers. It's just not fun for anyone. And so kind of over the years, we've learned the number of items that's realistic for us to sell over the course of a weekend. It tweaks here and there as we see different patterns, different amounts of people at the sale. I will tell you that we are trending very high right now. So it's pretty likely we would have to shut down early. We will always see if we can just shut down categories or whatnot before then. Remember, if you're a super seller, that item shutdown will not apply to you. That is one of the perks of being a super seller. We will always give a warning if that's going to happen. So if it's just not letting you enter, that doesn't mean that we've shut down item entry. It probably just means something's not working right. And just contact us. Okay. Another thing is volunteer pre-sale spots. So as a consignor for the sale, you get in at 6:30 the night before a public sale. Volunteers actually get to shop even earlier, and you still get to stay all the way through the close of the pre-sale. A well-staffed sale also increases the odds of your items selling, and there are lots of different times available, and registration's currently open. We are offering something this time. It's kind of a pilot. And it's just kind of a soft launch thing. This is not something we're widely advertising, but just something that we're kind of trying out. We are offering a few options for shifts. These are only open to sellers. They are not open to just anybody. And they're basically, last time we had suggested to us that we should consider adding a 2-hour shift option for folks who maybe can't work 4 hours. We have some reservations about that, but we thought it would be fair to go ahead and try it out, especially because most of the people who've suggested that to us are consignors, and we really like consignor volunteers because you guys get it, and you are there to work, and you're there to work hard, and you want items to go well. So the only 2 shifts we are offering the sale, and again, these are only open to sellers. These are not open to the general public, and they will not be in the consignor workstation. You'll have to email us if you're interested in one of these. They are both on, there are 3 different options. So one of them is Saturday from 4 to 6, helping with sorting. And then there is one Sunday morning from 10 to 12, helping with sorting. And then Sunday afternoon from 1:45 to 3:45, helping with sorting. So again, these are only open to sellers. They will not show up in your consignor workstation. You're going to have to email us if you're interested in one of those. Now, those 2-hour shifts will not get you in to shop at 5:30 for the volunteer pre-sale. They will get you in at 6. So you will start a little later than the volunteers who are putting in more time, but you will still shop before the consignor. So if you're wanting to maybe trial volunteering, that is an option. Like I said, this is a trial run for us. We may not decide to continue it after this sale, but we had several people express interest in something like that. So we thought it was only fair that we give it a try. And so let us know if you're interested in one of those. If you volunteer for either the 2-hour or the 4-hour shifts, you are welcome and actually encouraged to pass your consignor pass off onto somebody else so that they can come shop. You get a physical consignor shopping pass, so that is easy to pass on, and we strongly encourage it. All right, this one's going a little long, so I'll try to speed through the last little bit. Please make sure you have your drop-off appointment made. Remember, they are made in 15-minute windows, and that's basically the time that you're arriving, getting checked in, and probably getting your stuff initially unloaded into the armory, especially if you have a ton of stuff. You need to plan to spend closer to 30 to 45 minutes putting away your items, probably longer if you've got a ton of items, or if you're just somebody who likes to kind of take their time. We have volunteers who will assist you. Tables and racks are going to be well labeled so that you know where things go. So make sure that you're allowing that for your drop-off time. We do have a drop and run option that can be found on our website. That is an option we kind of put on there for people who otherwise would not be able to sell if they had to put their own items away. But just know that that's available if you are going to need that. Make sure you make your pickup appointment if you are not donating all of your unsold items. If you can't come back for pickup, consider donating all your unsold. If you want to be able to pick up your items, you can send somebody to pick up your items for you. Just be aware that you're at the mercy of them doing a good job. So, all right, I think that is it. Please make sure you go back and read the previous newsletters if you have registered since last Wednesday, and let us know if you have any questions. Thanks.